understand. I know you're a townie. I know you're happy living in your liberal elite world of London. But for us, the countryside is...
Okay, mate, I'm going to have a
I'm
little...
not your mate. I hate you. I think you're an idiot.
Okay.
I think you're a lefty, liberal, woke idiot. You know nothing, James. Stick in your London liberal, lefty wokeism. You know nothing about farming.
Oh, this is to be heard, to be believed, honestly. Absolutely hilarious. Now, during yesterday's James O'Brien show on LBC, he was discussing the farmers' protest that was happening yesterday, obviously. And he had some brilliant callers. And then Charlie appeared, and let's just say, he's not a fan.
I would like to make 2 points. I'm going to correct you on your 7-year thing, and then I'm going to fill in the gap in your knowledge.
I've got the HM Revenue and Customs page in front of me on the 7-year thing.
Perfect. So
it's not me you're correcting. It's the official advice.
No, it is you. You've got the wrong end of the stick.
Okay.
But so with the 7-year thing, are you happy that a farmer can pass it on in 7 years inheritance tax free?
Hang on, you're supposed to be correcting me.
Yeah, no, I'm asking you a question.
Oh. Am I happy? Well, everyone enjoys that freedom.
Yeah.
So I mean, in an ideal world, probably get rid of all the loopholes. But I think that would be brutal.
So why is it then that it's acceptable to pass on a farm in 7 years from now, but for someone that's worked on that farm for the last 40 years, all of a sudden they can't get that? If their dad died 2 years ago, if their parents die in before this thing comes in, they're going to get hit by inheritance tax. They've worked that farm for their entire life.
Yes.
Why is that? Why is that different?
Well, you've just explained why it's different because the rules have changed.
So exactly
to meet the new need, and also, of course, 1984 was the point this was introduced. So
that's right.
So 40 years is the perfect point to pick, isn't it? Because prior to 1984, you'd have been paying more inheritance tax, and all those farms.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't.
Yes, you would. So how was that fair?
No, they wouldn't, because 40 years ago, farmland wasn't the price it is now.
Prior to but the percentage that you'd pay on it would have been the same, not the total.
Percentages,
yes,
exactly,
but tax is all about percent. I'm enjoying being corrected by you, Charlie, but you must let me get a word in edgeways. Tax is all about percentages, not totals. It's about the proportion of the total that goes to the taxman. So because of inflation... Hang on. Because of inflation, obviously all the numbers are going to be higher.
It's not inflation.
Okay, well, because of some mysterious magic formula, all the numbers are going to be higher than they were 40 years ago. But just to show you politely the error of your ways, the reason why rules change is because of economic policy. So your point is as valid as ringing me in 1984 and complaining about how unfair it is that you had to pay inheritance tax last year in 1983, and a farmer who passes away next year in 1985, his heirs won't have to pay any inheritance tax at all. Do you see? The rules change.
No, hang on. If you let me get a word in edgeways now, how much was land worth in 1984 per acre?
But you keep asking me questions.
Well,
considerably less. Well, how much was my house worth? How much was my house worth? How much was my house worth in 1984, Charlie? Answer the question.
Just now, you said that if you don't have the information, you make bad decisions. So in 1984, the average cost of an acre was £3,780.
And the average cost of a house?
I've no idea. I'm not talking about houses, I'm talking about acres.
No, you're talking about inheritance tax, which applies to houses. So what was the average cost of a house in 1984?
I've no idea, James. I don't care about houses. I'm caring about acres. That's
okay, so I'll give you a spoiler alert. They cost a lot less 40 years ago than they do now.
£3,788.
But the percentage of tax that you pay is the same regardless of how much the estate is worth.
Right, so you're quite happy. You're quite happy that they can get.
I don't know that I'm happy, Charlie. I mean, that's an existential question. But if I'm offered a choice,
and now I tell you what, because we're not going to agree on this, I'll tell you why.
We can't disagree about counting.
I will tell you.
It's
why
not an opinion. It's just counting.
If you stop talking over me and let someone who actually knows speak for once, and I know that's difficult for you, James.
Why are you so rude, Charlie? It's not my fault.
Rude.
It's not my fault. You've just made.
You are the rudest person on the radio because you sit there with your foot in your nose.
I'm the second rudest person on the radio at the moment. At this moment, Charlie, it's not my fault you're feeling silly. It's now 2024.
Blah blah blah.
Okay,
the point
this is going
I know
well.
what I'm talking about. You don't, and you won't listen.
I'll be quiet for a full 60 seconds.
Fantastic. Right. Okay. I'll tell you why it's different when a farmer inherits a farm and when I inherit my parents' house. So when I inherit my parents' house, my house, my personal house, my job, my pension, my investments, they are all protected. Do you understand that?
It's not true. You have inheritance tax to pay on the estate that you inherit from your parents. You just pay double what you would on farmland.
No. My job is protected. I pay inheritance on the asset I inherit.
Yes, the asset.
Yeah, exactly. So my house...
And the farm, isn't that...
not
Well, I'm supposed to be quiet.
that.
Carry on. But if you say things that aren't true, I have to interrupt.
My house is not impacted by me inheriting my parents' house. Do you agree with that? My personal income, my personal job, my personal investments are not impacted by me inheriting my parents' house.
Well, unless it's a B&B and you work there or something like that, unless the property is part of your business. But this is about agricultural land.
Right, okay, so now let's talk about agricultural land. So when a farmer inherits his farm that he's been working on for all of his life, that is his
not
house.
necessarily.
Well,
we just spoke.
Going to be quiet.
But you've had 60 seconds now.
You're talking over people again, James.
But you're not making sense, Charlie.
Well, you haven't let me finish.
Okay,
you finish, James.
You finish then, Charlie.
So when a farmer inherits his farm and he can't afford to pay that inheritance tax because it's hundreds of thousands of pounds and he only makes £30,000 a year.
Well, can we crunch the numbers quickly?
That's his home, James.
Can we crunch the numbers quickly?
Yeah, by all means.
So hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of tax, presuming, of course, that it's passed from spouse to spouse and then to heir. So it's in excess of £3 million. So for hundreds of thousands of pounds at a 20% tariff, regardless of what the figure is, the percentage is 20%. You'd have to be living in an estate worth sort of £6, £7 or £8 million.
No, 4.5 million, James.
No, hundreds of thousands of pounds, you said.
4.5, yeah, exactly.
So that's 1.5 million, 20% of 1.5 million over 10 years.
Yeah, and how are you going to pay that?
And 40% for everybody else.
How are you going to pay that when you earn 25 grand a year?
The same. Well, I don't. How can you possibly be arguing, Charlie? Charlie,
my house is protected. When a farmer inherits his farm, his house is at risk.
Why don't you sell some stuff?
Like what, James?
Well, some of your land.
Who's going to buy it? Who's going to buy it?
I don't know. Lots of people are trying to buy land. We spoke to.
No, that's the funny thing.
What do you want to name?
Farmer's not going to buy it, are they?
John's going to buy it. John is going to buy it.
John's going to build solar panels on it.
John, I don't know what he's going to do with it, but he's going to. But you asked me who was going to buy it, which you don't recognise.
You're
shouting at me again.
Panels. We've had the offers for wind farms.
Well, there you go. Then what are you complaining about?
Because we don't want to concrete over the land. I know you're a townie. I know you're happy living in your liberal elite world of London. But for us, the countryside is the countryside. It's where our food comes from, James.
So you've been offered...
You seem to have forgotten that.
You
seem to have forgotten that, haven't you, James?
Charlie, you don't...
Accept it.
Okay, mate. I'm going to have a
I'm not your mate. I hate you. I think you're an idiot.
Okay.
I think you're a lefty, liberal, woke idiot.
Okay, Charlie. The thing about solar panels, or indeed wind farms, is that they create energy. Now, can you think of any profession...
I'm an electrical engineer, James. I know how that works.
Can you think of any profession you have some experience of that uses a lot of energy?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm an electrical engineer, James. So all of the things I do requires a lot of energy.
Oh, okay. So finding ways to produce energy. At the moment, what's rapeseed oil used for?
Oil, cooking oil for a start.
No, what's it used for? It's used to produce energy, right?
No, cooking oil.
That's heat.
No.
Yes.
Cooking oil, James. When you go and get a bottle of oilseed rape out your cupboard, where do you think it came from?
That's not all the rapeseed. The industrial production of oil is part of the energy production process, and the same is true of solar panels. Mate, they are telling you that they're going to give you money with which you can then pay your inheritance tax, and you're saying, I don't want it. I want to carry on earning a pittance.
Exactly.
Oh, well, then we're in agreement then.
We're farming an outstanding area of natural beauty. We don't want to see solar panels there. I'm shocked, but not surprised that you do.
Well, I don't like fossil fuels.
Oh, well, in that case, let's tarmac the countryside. James doesn't like fossil fuels. Let's tarmac the AOMBs. Let's tarmac them. Yeah, get some solar farms on there. Yeah, why not, James? Hey, James, you like immigrants. You probably want to see some homes there as well, don't you?
Well, down with homes.
When was the last time you went to a farm?
Down with homes.
When was the last time you went to a farm?
When was the last time I went to a farm? Is that a trick question?
No.
About 3 months ago.
3 months ago, right. What was you doing on that farm?
I was buying pumpkins.
Right. Okay. So you've never
That's less than three.
I
grew up on a working farm. This is such a strange argument. In a sentence, I grew up on a working farm. I probably should have mentioned that sooner. I grew up just outside Kidderminster in Worcestershire. The farmers are all around Chaddesley, Corbett, and that area.
So what? Your dad was a farmer?
No, I've explained several. Do you listen to this program?
So when you? No, I don't.
Well, how can you have such strong?
I think you're an idiot.
How can you have such strong views about me then?
Because the few times I have listened to you, I heard how you speak to people. You talk over them and cut them off, like you've done to me.
Down with that sort of thing, Charlie?
You are down with that, I know. That's what you
I
love.
mean down with talking over people and shouting at them.
Oh, I'll shout at you. I'll give you everything that you try and give me.
I've tried to give you a fair hearing.
You haven't. You haven't at all.
Okay.
I pointed the facts to you and you won't accept it.
Okay.
You know nothing, James. Stick in your London liberal lefty wokeism. You know nothing about farming.
10:53.
Weekdays from 7 a.m.
Something tells me he won't be ringing back up again. I have to say, that was the angriest LBC caller I've heard in a long, long while. Now, again, I don't have a strong opinion on this situation because I've never been on a farm and never worked on one either. So if you think, while I was laughing or taking the rise, no, I'm not. I just found the whole conversation hilarious and he was just absolutely bonkers. But the one thing I do know, I don't think the likes of Jeremy Clarkson really helped their cause either yesterday at the protest. But I do know that a few people will agree with Charlie on one thing about James O'Brien. He is very, very rude and will cut people off a lot, and that rubs up a lot of people the wrong way. But who was the rudest? Let me know down below. And if you enjoy all things House of Commons and Select Committee meetings, which I know we'll be back on them pretty soon, give us a like and subscribe. And I'll just leave the video here and I shall bid you farewell and take care, my friends.